engaging with your people, because it's all about people, not technology. And that's why it's so great actually to meet you guys in person for the first time in a long time. Also, everything seems to be in threes, honesty, adaptability, passion. Great messages, and great to see Alan here as well. Great supporter of CitA, and we really do value you joining us this year again. So if we have our three speakers, please, at the front, and we should have a roving mic. And so we might, just maybe an easy question from me, maybe to Emma. Just to start, Emma, you spoke about that kind of step-by-step approach. Well, I presume you can use that in a generic digital context, not just BIM. In other words, you could work with SMEs who are looking to embrace technologies like what Mark spoke about.
Yeah, absolutely, Alan. So I suppose that step-by-step approach applies to any change that you want to introduce to your organisation. So having short, medium and long-term goals so that it's achievable and it's not overwhelming, I think is a really important aspect of that, and engaging with people, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, and everybody here has mentioned, making sure that everybody knows what's going on, that they're on board, that they feel part of it. Like, that applies to any change within an organisation.
And of course, every company is different.
Every company is different, and I think that's really important to stress in developing an implementation strategy. It should be bespoke to your company, so that vision for your company needs to be reflected in the implementation strategy.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah. Any questions from the audience? We have a mic there. Yes.
I'll take a small version.
Ross, good morning. You're very welcome.
The people buy-in.
Yes.
And particularly in this industry, subcontractor buy-in, so the common data environment or on-site subcontractors who you want to tag. How do you bring them on the journey? I suppose you've less carrots and less sticks perhaps at times. So maybe a comment on that side of things.
Yeah, no, obviously it's a massive challenge getting the subcontractors on board, because every subcontractor, like every company, is a different sort of stage of the journey within the sort of digital construction. So the one thing that we found is that if we find the subcontractor who's willing to engage, who's wanting to push forward, and sort of, they can all see where it's going, that eventually in, maybe 5 years, 10 years time, if they haven't got these credentials, they're not going to be able to, be a subcontractor for us. So the guys who want to come along and want to come on board, we're going to help them. We're going to, we're going to work with them, and we're going to do whatever we can to bring them along the journey, because, companies like ourselves, without subcontractors, we're nothing. We haven't got we haven't got that many employees to do anything in-house. We've still got to rely on subcontractors. So.
Yeah. I guess even Alan, you recognise some of the logos on the screen, companies you work with. Yeah. Whether they're architects, engineers, contractors, subcontractors. So we're all in this together. So any other question for our speakers? Yes. Ahmed, do we have a mic, I think, do we? Sorry. Suzanne, you're doing a great job.
My question would be to Emma, and just briefly, I would like to reveal a finding which I've came across during my PhD, and that was SMEs in Ireland we love to innovate. So, is there any kind of requirement or mandate for SMEs to be engaged in Group 1?
So, I suppose to answer the mandate question first, there is talk within government that there is going to be a BIM and digital construction mandate from government. There is no timeline on that yet, but it is definitely coming down the tracks. So that mandate is for the construction industry. It's not particularly for tier 1 contractors. It is for the entire industry. So that's going to affect the entire supply chain. And one point to that is that I think it's 95% of companies working within the construction industry are an SME. So if there's a mandate from government to implement BIM on projects, then it's going to affect SMEs. So that is definitely a driver for the industry. But I would say, even without the mandate for SMEs to engage in the construction industry, there is a requirement for them to be digitally capable, and not necessarily have to use modelling software or anything like that. It depends on what the organisation is and what their part in the supply chain is. But maybe it's a case of, being able to work within a common data environment. That will allow an SME to engage in the bid process in digital construction.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
Yeah, there's two things I want to ask. Like the way that, especially the honesty thing that's a big, I think it's a big thing for people to get over, because people are always trying to get away with stuff. We all know that, yeah? So, like the first time I worked in Germany, the first time the client came on site and asked me to change something, asked me to sign the drawing, he was like, what are you talking about? Because they have their own, construction code there, and that doesn't happen. Like, you're not going to go into court afterwards and do all this stuff. So, given that, like, there are other construction environments that are very different, there are things called the VOB, and it's big books of stuff that they only do in Germany. Would there be a country like that would be a model of, like, say just in Europe, what would you say is the country that has best embraced all this so far?
Well, I might add to that.
Yeah.
Because I'm involved in the Build Digital, we did some research looking at this, and no one country has cracked the whip, really. The most mature jurisdiction in the world in regard to digitalization and BIM is the Nordics.
Yeah.
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. And actually, they don't really talk much about standards. They just have regulation. They have laws that say thou must use this technology.
And they enforce them.
And if you don't, you've got to report why you're not using these technologies. Second most mature, I would say, it's difficult to look at the US and Australia. They're just such big countries, under their states. But UK have been a major driver, and Scotland in the whole kind of BIM implementation. They wrote the standards. So, so Ireland needs to work with the UK because a huge amount of work has been done. And Australia and New Zealand are really interesting countries because in the Australasian context, they work together. New Zealand's quite similar to Ireland. Australia's quite similar to the UK, but they have joint BIM programs, they have joint, national BIM councils, they have joint BIM roadmaps and guidelines. And I think there could be, we could learn a lot. But Ireland is a huge opportunity for Ireland because of the extent of FDI that are involved in this country. And just look at those logos again. Like, they all believe in this digitalization transformation, but it is about people, actually. It's about that human piece.
I think we don't take enough advantage of, because I work mostly in my career in London, the likes of O'Rourke's now, Lang'O'Rourke's, Bahola Mafia, all that, like, we don't take enough advantage of the huge amount of work they've been doing. Like, the stuff, Ray O'Rourke was in a video nearly 8 years ago talking about all this stuff, Like,
the other thing is, Liz mentioned fragmentation quite a bit. Unfortunately, we're falling into that hole again in construction. We've so many communities and entities all kind of doing the same thing. So whether it's Construct Innovate, or whether it's Build to Innovate, or whether it's DASB or CitA, or even what Enterprise Ireland does, it's kind of, we're all kind of trying to do the same thing. So I think my message to the government is bring these together, because we're a small country. And we don't want to be creating these. I learned so much about DASB today. I didn't realise that you had done so much. I learned about CPAC, obviously, and I wasn't aware of the detail of the BIM implement programs. But SMEs need to know this. So they need to know who to go to, and how. Even today, the networking, the meeting in person, is so important. SMEs need to network, and perhaps it's going to the Midlands, at Technology University of Shannon, or going to Galway or whatever. I see even Gervais coming from Belfast or from Northern Ireland this morning. Like, that's, it's fantastic. So, any other questions? Yes.
Can I just add
Yes.
on from that? Like, you're very familiar with the BIM. I look at the digital
Yes.
in all the other
Yeah.
areas as well. Estonia, surprisingly, is one of the advanced
So
countries
they're really
when it
advanced.
comes to
Yeah,
unbelievably
Zara,
so.
yeah.
And I was talking about the digital building permits, so it has a whole processes through, and it's all connected.
Yeah.
And then you get these building passports. They are the forerunners in that line of work. So, and Germany, Netherlands as well have also come through. So it's not just the Nordic countries when it comes to BIM.
No, true.
You know, there's a lot of these unknown, but even Slovenia has started to advance extremely rapidly. The same as also a small country. And we, like Ireland, we are able to move fast. And when we
Yeah.
start, we do go. It's getting started and pushing it along. So, and it's 95% are SMEs. But there's a lot of SMEs that are taking non-BIM. They may not be taking Revit, they may be just taking the cloud, but the construction cloud. But Navisworks has really increased its numbers in people on site using that. There's lots of mobile tools now as well you can use, but it's connecting them all together. And again, fragmentation in the whole processes as well. It's not just the people and the businesses, the acceptable digitalisation needs to be all brought together so people know what's there.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Liz. Any other questions? Okay, so we might just bring the meeting to a close, but I know people are busy to get back to work. But wasn't it nice just to meet again? Wasn't it nice to have a few hours away from the office?